A lot of people hate cover letters and usually think they're a waste of time, but they don't have to be. Hey y'all, Cami here from Cami at Home, talking about all things work from home. And I want to talk with you about creating a resume and a cover letter that'll help you get hired for an online job. Now, I am by no means an expert here, but I have applied to a lot of online jobs, so I'm hoping that I can share the things that I've learned with you in hopes that I can help you find a remote job too. Before we get started, I did create a video previously about using your work experience or lack of on your resume for remote work, so I'd suggest checking that out first before continuing here, but totally fine if you want to continue with this video first. All right. Let's get started. Resumes. So before I get started sharing some of the tools that I've used, I thought it would be helpful to share some tips on creating resumes in general. Now, many people usually mention that you should customize your resume, but I don't feel that you need to create an entirely new resume for each new job that you apply to, especially if they're all within the same field. What may be important though is modifying your resume slightly so that it has some of the keywords that are listed in the job description. It's very likely that companies that will allow you to work from home will be using some type of applicant tracking system. So this system searches resumes for keywords that are in or related to the job description and then highlights those same resumes that have a bunch of keywords that are job description related or job field related. So depending on the field you're in and the job you're applying to, you may not need to create an entirely new resume, but it's great to have a general resume for the type of job you're applying for and include keywords in it that'll nearly always be in the job description. For example, if you're in customer service, it may be good to have keywords such as customers, answering, handling, emails, phone, communicating, problem solving, time management, somewhere in your resume. Another thing to keep in mind is that in general, you don't want your resume to be too long. I'd say about 2 pages max for most positions is pretty good. And if it's longer than 2 pages, it is very likely that no one's going to be reading that. Also, it's good to have your most recent work experience first and then your prior experience later on. Don't be like me, who used to have my prior experience listed first and then my most recent experience listed later. I don't know where I got that from or what I was doing, but it does not surprise me that I didn't get hired for a while. So what I do now is I put my most recent work experience first, and I will also make this the longest section of my resume, and then I include my prior experiences behind that and have about 5 to 8 bullet points to describe what I was doing or to describe my experience. Cover letters. Although I'm not an expert, I think I could give some advice on cover letters because I've tried a few things. You know, a lot of people hate cover letters and usually think they're a waste of time, but they don't have to be. The cover letter can be used as your way of highlighting a specific experience that's relevant to the role, which can then help that employer see whether or not you're really a good fit for that remote job. And that's how I've been using my cover letters, at least recently. I give a bit of specific experience. For example, I'll describe a situation that I went through that may be relevant to the role. I may describe something I did in a previous role that I was really proud of or that made an impact and kind of describe how it relates to the job that I'm applying for. And I find that piques the recruiter's interest to learn more and makes them want to delve deeper into my experience by having me talk about it in an interview. Now, do cover letters always have to be different for each role or each job you apply to? No, I don't think it does. Similar to resumes, I think it's totally fine to have a general template as long as the job you're applying to is within a similar field. For example, if you're in customer service and one job is phone support, and one job is email support, I don't think you need to have 2 different cover letters for those jobs. I think using a template is just fine. And I think it's especially helpful if you're applying to a lot of roles. That said, I do think there's a way to make your cover letter sound as though it's not a template. And I think that you should ensure it doesn't sound as though it's a template. For example, the first line of your cover letter, whether you choose to greet with hi, hey, dear, hello, or another greeting, I think it's best to address the cover letter to the company name and then add team at the end, which can sound a bit more friendly, like, hey AMC team versus to whom it may concern, or dear hiring manager, which can come across as really impersonal. Some people do recommend searching up the recruiter or hiring manager and then addressing the cover letter to them, but that takes time to do. Sometimes it can be difficult finding the hiring manager, and sometimes the hiring manager or the person reviewing your resume and cover letter isn't who you think it is. So I am speaking from experience here because I've unfortunately made that mistake before. I addressed my cover letter to who I thought was the hiring manager or who I thought was the recruiter, and it turns out I was wrong. It was someone completely different. Yeah, I didn't get that job. Now, speaking about experience in writing cover letters, another tip that I can give you is to have a catchy line somewhere in your cover letter, particularly in the beginning. This line could be something related to your experience, something related to your excitement about that role, something related to a specific thing that you saw on their website, something about their customers, or something about their product. But having a catchy line will help to hook them in and actually get them to read the rest of your cover letter. The next tip I can give you is to end your cover letter with excitement. At the end of your cover letter, you're going to want to be direct and let them know that you're excited to hear from them. Something that I've learned from hanging around with folks in the marketing field is that you always want to have an ask. This is something that you want your audience to do. In this case, you want the recruiter to reach out to you, right? So then let them know that you're excited to hear from them, or that you're excited for them to get in touch with you. You can say something simple like, I look forward to discussing how my experience can be an asset to your team, or I look forward to discussing how I can help the company do something. So, for example, I look forward to discussing how I can help AMC company create a better customer experience. Not only do you sound confident this way, but you sound as though you actually want to help the company be better in some area, which is what they want. Now I'm going to move on to discussing some tools that I've used that I found really helpful. These won't really help with your cover letter per se, but they can help you create a nice theme for your resume and then transfer that onto your cover letter. Something that is nice is to have the same theme in your resume, also in your cover letter. It can make you come across as a bit more professional. Okay. Onto these tools. My perfect resume. So it's not always easy describing what you have done in past positions. Sometimes you can't always describe the things you've done adequately, or sometimes there's just things that you've forgotten. And that's where My Perfect Resume steps in. This website will help you come up with language to describe your work experience in a professional sounding way. How this works is that you sign up, choose the job field you're in, and then My Perfect Resume comes up with pre-written bullet points for you. For example, if you've worked in customer service, you want to click the customer service field. Then you'll see here, you can look through language that helps to describe the various things that you've done. You can also modify the language to better suit your needs. Usually what I'll do is I will go through everything. I will select every single bullet point where I felt like I had done that before. And then I go through and trim and modify and ensure there is only language relevant to the experience I actually had at specific companies. So I've used this to help create my resume. I've used it to help create my husband's resume. I've used this to help with friends and family members and help them create their resumes. And I pretty much recommend this website to anybody who I can. If you want to ensure that you're effectively describing your work experience, you should definitely give this a try. Now, you can use My Perfect Resume to create a visually appealing resume, but I like my resumes to have a little bit more flair. I'm sure you've probably heard of Canva before, but if you haven't, it is a website that allows you to create professional designs without having to hire a graphic designer. And there's a lot you can do with it. With Canva, you can create presentation slides, reports, posters, Instagram posts, YouTube thumbnails, and also you can design resume and cover letters. What's really great is that they actually have a wide variety of resume templates to choose from, ranging from simplistic to more graphic. So you don't even need to create anything yourself. However, you can definitely change things up a bit. You'll have the option to change the color, add your own photos, select and add graphics, use filters, and a lot more. Then when you're finished, you can just download your resume as a PDF. One thing that I'd recommend here is having your resume language somewhere else, like in a Word document, and then copying and pasting that over into Canva. This will just make it easier if you need to change the resume later on. So again, Canva is used to help you create a visually appealing resume, or at least I've used it to create a visually appealing resume. Sajda. Forgive me if I sound like an idiot. I actually don't know how to pronounce that. But this is a site that I use to help me create clickable links on my resumes and cover letters. And this also includes email addresses. The email addresses in the PDF can also be a clickable link. So what you'll want to do here is upload your cover letter or your resume in PDF format. Select the links button. Highlight the text you want to link, add the link or email, and then save and download your file. Also, this is the one free PDF editor that I found that allows you to make your email address as a clickable link. So that's mainly what I use it for. They also have other features for modifying PDFs. So even if you're not using this to modify your resume and cover letter, you may still want to bookmark this site anyway. All right, those are all the tips I got. At least for now. You can let me know in the comments below if you found this useful, but I do hope that you found at least some of the tips here useful in helping you to create a better cover letter and better resume and help you get that online job. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to give it a like and share it with your friends and family or whoever you think would be helped by this information. And as always, you are welcome to check out my blog, cammyathome.com, where I have more content about working from home. All right, bye.